just got fired, bro. Ubisoft was my best job. Where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? I'm bored. Let's make a game. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Mustard, back with another video, and today we here to talk about Claire Obscur Expedition 33, man. Man, this game is great. And before we start, yes, I did have to do that skit because it was crazy how I actually found out that this game is made by, ex-Ubisoft employees, which they made quite the beautiful game. And yes, I'm kind of tooting my own horn, but this game is absolutely just a fun thing to play. Like, it's a fun game to play. I encourage people to go play this game. But let's get on to why I like this game so much. So in the beginning, as you kind of see him now a little bit, not the two girls, the dude on the left, you play as my boy, the GOAT Gustav, and you really learn about his life and his love life, but you also get help from this girl known as Mael. Now, we'll get into Mael in a little bit here, but the most important thing here is that the city is kind of like in shambles in a way, and you're kind of like on top of rooftops and stuff like that. But also, you are part of this year's expedition team. Now, I say that because in your city, the city of Lumiere, age means absolutely nothing because you literally could die at any age in this game. And I say that because the villain for the beginning, known as the Paintress, pretty much kills people off at whatever age that she feels like it. And I say this because on the mountain in the back, which is known as the Go Maj in this game, really, it has like a number, and the number really, every year represents if you are that age, you just flat out die. Like, you just, you go turn into the little roses and you like vanish away, which is really crazy to think about. Now, remember when I said you are this expedition, you are on this team this year for the expedition. They have been sending out teams every year, Lumiere, I should say, to try to stop the Paintress, but no one has never been successful. Hell, no one has even returned at this point. And, the Paintress is on a whole nother continent. Like, they have to get over there by boat, which is really insane. But like, these people, they're going on expeditions. Lumiere's drafting people like it's World War II, like dead ass. Like, you dead ass get drafted, except they're not picking you by, I guess they kind of are picking you by age, because once you get old enough, you just go. Not unless you volunteer and go, which leads me back to what I talked about earlier. This girl named Mael. Mael, she chooses to go. Another very important character of the game. She chooses to go. She is actually adopted by the GOAT, the all-time GOAT, Gustav. And in this, when she goes on an expedition, I think she's like the youngest person to go, like, on an expedition team. She's nothing but, like, I think 14 in this game, which is really insane to really think about. Not really caring much about her life anymore because, Lumiere isn't sunshine and rainbows because everyone's just dying anyways. But she decides to go, which is insane. Now, I'm going to kind of skip over the part where necessarily beginning of the game, everybody has like, their scenic views of seeing each other and like the town having a parade for the new expedition, because pretty much after that, it's just Gustav really talking to his sister and everybody saying their last goodbyes before they absolutely go on the expedition. But when the expedition starts, some things necessarily happen after they get off that boat. They meet, when they get into the new continent, they see this old guy, which, like I told you, no one can really get old there, which starts to get interesting. And then the old guy just says, fuck it, says nothing, and then literally just starts murdering the whole new expedition team, which this is where things get interesting. Everyone starts dying, things start going crazy, and like everything's fucking happening at once. And then you, as the GOAT here, Gustav, you actually get separated from Mael and everyone else. Now, this isn't the real Act 2 of the game, because at the end of Act 1, something big happens, my GOAT. We gonna get there in this video, y'all, but my Act 2, I'm really gonna focus on, like, gameplay and stuff like that, more or less of you unlocking more characters the more that you play the game and stuff like that, necessarily. But I really want to talk about like the stuff and the systems in this game, like dodging enemies, of course, but parrying kind of really being the main system that they want you to use, because if you parry, you get your AP points back. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what AP points is, of course, action points. It's pretty much what you use to do your special skills and stuff like that. But like I said, parrying is like really the true thing that you want to do, because you get them points back and they're very helpful. Definitely for hard fights, because at first it is going to seem like that you are kind of just cakewalking through this game. And then they just start throwing shit at you. And then that's where it gets hard. But when that happens, I honestly would say don't really worry about it as much, because you do get to pick who you have on your team when you unlock more people. Your characters do level up, their weapons do level up, or you do find newer weapons to use. So like you should be fine, but it is like strategic. So you pretty much have to figure out how you're going to literally like play your game, how you're going to strategize, how you're going to make yourselves better. And honestly, this is what makes this game so much fun, because like as you see, I got Gustav, Mael, and Lune, but like you can literally have like the other two characters that you have to unlock, being Ciel and Monoko, I think, or I can't think of that dude's name right now. It's gonna kill me. I should also say that Lumina, in the game is gonna be very important, because that's what you're pretty much gonna be using to literally like give points to your characters. And don't get me wrong, there's these things called pictos, and there's like 3 skills that you can use for each character. You're gonna need those late game because they stack. It's like freaking Uno on this boy. It's like playing Uno stacks, and you giving people like you stack and draw 4 stuff like that. Those pictos are really, really good. So when you get to like late game stuff and you need to stack them to fight a really hard boss, I promise you they will be your best friend. So always look out for pictos. Always look out for Lumina, because once you get those, you probably are going to get like a god team. Now unless you fighting like one of these hard bosses. And I say that because even though this game's like story driven, there's so much side stuff for you to do in this game, which is crazy when you really think about it. And this is where the side stuff I feel like is where you really kind of run into like all those deep bosses. Not saying that in the story that you're not gonna run into like some hard stuff, because I most definitely did. But it's the side stuff where you really run into like some crazy bosses that really makes you play the game strategically, and you really learn the leaps and bounds on how to necessarily play this game, or otherwise you're just gonna get cooked. Now, kind of got a little sidetracked, kind of didn't, but going back to the story here, Gustav was gonna, himself, I can't, really say it for YouTube, you know what I'm saying, But yeah, Gustav was fighting his demons. Anyways, you do get Lune. That is like the first other character that you get for, building your team or whatever. But we're kind of do a little fast forward here, because eventually you do find Mael. She's in this mansion, which please keep that mansion in your mind. It's a key important part, which I'll talk about later on in the story. And she's with the dude who is known as the Curator. He upgrades your weapons, but please keep the Curator as a keynote too, because he plays another vital role into this story as well. After finding them, you do go to this place called Gestural Village, which you do fight the Gestrials. They do have side stuff in the game too, by the way, just to mention and stuff like that. After fighting them, you do get Ciel, which is your other party member, which you can use her on your main team. You can use her on the reserve team because, you know, if all your 3 teammates died, you do have a reserve team. But with that being said, you pretty much fight her so you could go find, I believe that they called him a god too. I could be wrong on this, but you're going to go find SKA, which really pretty much helps you for the world map. He breaks down rocks for you. You're going to learn how to eventually swim with him, by the way. And there's another thing that you're going to learn with him too, but I really don't like that they really was just like, hey, fuck it. Like, you're going to get it like towards the end of the game, but we'll talk about that later. Anyways, you pretty much have to help him find his rocks though. That's how he uses his abilities and stuff like that. So you can't just go out and use him out the gate. Like, you got to help him find his rocks. And you're helping him find his first rock to swim, because then you're going to start going to more places, you know, off the outskirts of the continent that you're on now. So as y'all see in the video now, this is probably the part that breaks my heart the most. Eventually, to find his rock, you do go into this place called the Stone Wall or Stone Wave Caves. You get through that area, you fight the boss, and the most just disrespectful thing happens. They decide in the game, how beautifully this game was going, was to kill off my guy Gustav in like really one of the best ways that they could. And it hurt. It really did hurt, because Gustav was the main character, so you had thought this whole time, but it is actually Mael. I literally did not think it was Mael at the beginning of this game. I thought Gustav was the main character, and then they killed him, and I was upset. I was angry. I was sad. It was so much going on. You do get the rock eventually, by the way. Just saying, SK do get his rock. You do be able to swim after, but man's died. You do. This is like your second or third encounter with Renoir, which I'm gonna just say his name now because they call him the white-haired man. You didn't know who his name was at first, but this is also where the game kind of switches up as well, because then you learn about the next pretty much important character, really a main character too in this game, Verso. This is where Verso really steps in, and after he dies, this is where the game actually goes into Act 2, and you pretty much are, you know, still on your quest to stop the Painterest, but this part freaking hurt. I don't care what nobody say. This hurt me to the core. For a 2025 game, they have done their job excellently at putting characters together, making you feel, making you care, and then they just straight said, yo GOAT is now my GOAT because I'm killing him. And I didn't know how to react after this. Honestly, it hurt my heart. Now, after dealing with that very difficult part of the video here, you know, there is some fast forwarding that needs to be done, because there is a lot that comes with Verso. With Verso comes, you do get your points back from Gustav, by the way, when he dies. I mean, of course, for the people who played knows that, but I guess that was a good thing. But literally, Gustav dying was like, that was too much. But Verso comes onto the team. They don't really trust him at first and stuff like that, but he wants to stop Renoir, because Renoir stopped me from getting to the Painterest, which Verso, you do end up finding out that Verso is Renoir's son. Now, Verso was doing his best to hide this, because there's like a whole bunch of family drama going on within there. So, as you see now, we're fighting, I think they called them the Axons, was pretty much like two big bosses. Like, they're stronger than the normal bosses. And you're pretty much doing that to get to the Painterest and stuff like that. But yeah, back to Renoir here. You do have to go through a fight with him, and he does kind of sort of explain the mansion that, you know, in Mael's dreams, as before in the, like early on in the video, she was having these visions pretty much of like a burning building and trying to save someone, stuff like that. And, you know, Renoir tells his story pretty much of how they lost a kid in their burning home. And you see where we are starting to connect the dots here a little bit. Oh man, there's even more connection after that. So pretty much anyways, to sum this all up, After you beat these axons and you get to the paintress, you do have to fight the paintress. Now, after beating the paintress, you do think that everything goes back to normal because that was supposed to be the whole point of the game, to beat the paintress so you can stop people from dying. Now, I thought, hey, I did it. Cool. The game is over. No, 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 no. It then fades to black. So you wake up and you realize that you are now in the real world. And as crazy as that sounds, it's about to get a lot more crazier. So you are Mael, but your face is burnt. Now, remember how I said she was having all these dreams about the burning building and then the other girl that they were using when I was talking about stuff like that? So it turns out that world that you're in is just a painting. It is a painting that your mother specifically made. And here's where it gets a lot more crazier. You are Mael, right? Verso in the game is actually the soul of your dead brother. Now it gets even crazier. You think, why is Mael's face burned? Because the dreams that she was having was actually reality. Their building, their home, actually got burnt down, but the baby brother didn't survive. So the mom, she could never get over the loss of a child. So she made the world, and the mom is actually the paintress of the entire game, which means the world that you see, it ain't real. It's not real. I mean, I guess you could say it's real in a sense because like they can bring stuff to life, but what's crazy about it is that since the mom never could really get over the loss of her child, she made this world. But apparently there's other paintings that do the same thing. So there's a whole nother world or worlds that exist that this family has made. Also, I should also mention that you do have like an older sister, which is like, I mean, you can fight her in the game too, but I didn't get that far in the game. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, but it's really crazy. But it gets even worse. So you then start to ask your question. You start to ask the question, who's Renoir? Renoir is your dad, but remember when I said pay attention to the keynote, the curator. The curator is also your dad. So he's been keeping tabs on Mael because they threw her into the world to play the character as Mael, to be an adopted girl who had no parents, because in the real world she still has her parents, which was really crazy to think about. But she actually grew an attachment to this world that she was in because the people and stuff like that, it seemed all real. Like all of it just seems real now, unless it is and they're just playing God. But like to me, that's just what it is. It feels like it's just real worlds and they're playing God. But your dad is just trying to stop your mom because your mom's just in a traumatic state where she can't get over the loss of her son, your brother. And that's who Verso is. And Verso actually understands what's going on and he knows. So Verso's whole time he was hiding from you this big ass secret. And Verso pretty much wants out. He wants his soul to rest. That's been Verso's big thing. So when you go back into the painting, you're Mael, but now you're like, you got more power to you and stuff like that. You know who you are and you know what you're doing. But at the same time, your dad's not happy that you still like the world because he was just going to get rid of it and bring your mom out to make her happy. But you intend to enjoy the world. So now the ending of the game now is for you to stop your dad. And that's what the whole ending of the game really takes place and throws you off. You have to stop your dad because your dad's doing everything in his power just to erase this painting, or do everything, get rid of this world. So you go on leaps and bounds to stop this man and do all this stuff. But also at the same time, you do have another enemy. So when you get towards the end of the game and you do stop your dad and you beat him, you now have two freaking choices within this game, which is really insane. It is split two choices. You can either play as Mael and save this canvas, have this world and have all these nice people and all these nice things that it is like going on in this world. Or you can choose Verso's side to let your soul rest, but it does kill pretty much everybody in this world. It won't kill Mael because she'll just wake up. Like, that ass, she'll just wake up, and Mael didn't like that. Two stories, you can pick whoever it is that you want to pick. I did pick Mael's ending just so everybody knows. I did see how Verso's ending did go about, but like, I don't hate Verso as a character. I do just felt like Mael was a little bit better necessarily. I will also say that even though I skipped a lot of things, I really did skip over that they did go get Monoko. That is his name. I did figure that out. I did skip over getting him. He's a nice character. Don't get me wrong. I like how he can change into the enemies of the game just to get that out of the way. But the ending of this game was insane. Now, here's the real thing with this. This game came out by ex-Ubisoft employees, right? They make games better than Ubisoft has in probably the last 5-6 years. Hell, it's probably been longer. That's one. Two, this game's on Game Pass, so I don't even have to pay for it to play it. Sorry for you other users like PlayStation and all you guys, but I think the game is marketed for you guys at $40, which games are now $70, and if you're a Nintendo person, you're paying like $80 to $90. And you're telling me they made a star-studded, like, S-class game like this, and I'm paying $40? This is insane to really think about. So you have pretty much an indie team, right, doing something 3 times better than what a AAA company has been able to do in the past, I don't know what, since like freaking 2018, because it seems like just like no AAA gaming company does anything right other than From Software. It really just sucks when people say, oh, well, gaming is dead. There's nothing left out of games. Games are not as much as they're used to. And then they smack this game at you for 2025. And if you already don't know, then I'm going to say it for you. This game is a 2025 Game of the Year nominee. I need to throw that in there because I feel like people just don't get how good this game is and how much it actually needs to shape the gaming industry as a whole as of how it did it, like how it came out, how it plays, how it is. This game is just absolutely tremendous. And I don't understand why people say gaming is necessarily dead, but then you get some good games like this. If you want my honest opinion, this game to me is the 2025 Game of the Year. I know there's other games that's out, Silksong, Donkey Kong, like all these other games that came out, stuff like that. Have I played them? No. I wouldn't be mad if Silksong was too because I heard it already broke the internet, so I wouldn't be mad at that. But to throw something in there like, oh yeah, Donkey Kong, and be like, that's Game of the Year, you don't know how good it is. You're right, I don't, but like, bro, you're buying a Switch too? Like, with how much money games are today? This game didn't just play well, it made a statement out on how bad the gaming industry is and how bad that people think it is, how people think games are dying, but then they make beautiful games like this. The gaming industry is fine, guys. It's just how much games cost, which is the freaking problem of everything. But with that being said, y'all already know what I'm going to say. For my final verdict, I'm giving this game, which is a first ever on my YouTube, it is easily getting a slap dab 10 out of 10. If you didn't hear first from the GOAT, then I'm gonna let the GOAT tell you.
For those who come after.
For those who come after, because it seemed like these indie companies care about what we play. But until next time, y'all, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Peace out.